What's up, guys? Pronogo bringing you another Cosmonarchy cast, and we're going to be featuring a little bit of a lower level match here. I wanted to take a look at a match between thisisjimmy and Alexhandr, played all the way back on the 19th of December. I was pretty swamped for the casts that I was doing, so I didn't get around to this closer to when it was actually made, but this is around when Alexhandr returned. I actually think since he's been playing a decent amount of Cosmonarchy, at least relative to the dearth of games that he had before, he actually is probably doing better than whatever level we see him here, but it still will be cool to watch him versus Jimmy. I mean, I feel like that's a match that anybody could win, even us. So let's see if we win, ladies and gentlemen, in the lovely little peanut gallery, and the comment section, the viewership angle, the stadium, those viewing at home, all that kind of stuff. So, welcome to 2026, welcome to Cosmonarchy. We are on Near Impact, a map by Jujic, and Alexhandr is going to be our smoky black Zerg in the bottom right. In the top left, we have thisisjimmy, who is our glacial Terran, going for a double stockade play, and forgetting to order his mason. This mason is undergoing malicious compliance. Well, Alexhandr will at least be able to get a little bit of a smackdown on him, a little bit of revenge. I also thought it was really amusing that Alexhandr was super excited for the Escozi, because, he likes, like, Dragonborn in D&D and stuff like that. He likes himself some lizards. But then he's like, damn, they're really micro-intensive, and I'm a noob. I still think he will have some fun playing Escozi. He's already been on the channel playing Escozi. But it'll be cool to see if he takes to them. Now, the other thing that I was thinking about, related-ish to that, was the fact that he also often plays the bad guys when he plays video games. But when he, it's just interesting. It's just an interesting angle for him. So, we'll see. We'll see what he ends up doing. Oh no, Jimmy, you lost your Maverick. That was Jim Raynor. That was Jim Raynor. Doesn't Jim Raynor canonically have a son? I don't think he's named Steve, but it's something like similarly memeable, I feel like. John Raynor, maybe? John Raynor sounds so, like, I don't know, Chinese knockoff, maybe? There's got to be a good word for it. It's uncanny, but also, like, somebody tried and failed to make a legally distinct Raynor. You know what I mean? I think I at one point contacted the voice actor. I forget his name now, but I contacted the voice actor for Jim Raynor and said, hey, are you interested in voice acting Rim Jainer? My way of not getting him into contract trouble. That's pretty good. I like that shit. All right, we have Alexhandr going to be going for a little bit of a Larvosk creep towards the ramp, and now this will likely be a Circuith. Although real Chad energy would make this a Larvosk and just make more units. Bio push is incoming as an expansion is put down by Jimmy behind the push, which I do like. I think that helps with your tempo quite a bit. We'll also be keeping notes here, keeping eyes on any notes we can make that might help these players. I've been seeing a number of newer players pop in and play a lot of games lately. One of the games that I really enjoyed watching recently was Thunder Slaps versus Shopkeeper Dog. Unfortunately, my VOD for that was no good, so I did not get a chance to upload the cast of it. But he played he played a couple of games versus Shop Dog. Maybe I'll cast him on stream, and even though I've already seen them, because they were some interesting games. I actually really liked the flow of them. But anyway, Thunder Slaps is a player who seems like he'll be on the higher level. And, of course, then we have a couple of players who are a little bit more like this level. Like Spiritas has been joining us, one of the homies of Krankendow. Got bit by the bug. No bites over here, though. Unless that Zeth... No, not quite able to get past the Cyprian. Owned. And, of course, we have the Kalkir Lake coming up for Alexhandr. So he's going to be going for that. And wow, Jimmy's going to be going for this. I don't know about this one, but maybe he can prove me wrong. Needs to restim those Mavs. They're already coming out. Yeah, there's a little bit of time there where they weren't DPSing down, and no focus onto that Circuith. You spent so much time doing 215 damage to that Circuith, but you didn't finish it off. So a lot of DPS that could have been going elsewhere. The Zerg is happy as a clam. Going to go ahead and expand behind that. And where does that leave Jimmy? Well, needs to send some Masons in the direction of his worker line, adding a Vestry here. This is, of course, before the Shaman changes, so if you've been keeping up to date with the bleeding edge of Cosmonarchy, you'll know that Shamans no longer stack their heal, but are more intensive with the heal that they provide. BRB. I love when Jimmy does that. Like, he'll say there was this immortal time I'll never forget when I was like, all right, you ready? Because we were going to 1v1. And he's like, yeah. So then I started the game and he said BRB and didn't even pause I had to pause the game for him. Just like, literally as we start, like, I don't think he even ordered his Masons to mine yet. He's just like, BRB. I asked if you were ready, dude. What the hell? So I'm sure something silly came up, like, you know, his parents called or whatever, but it was pretty funny. I'll never forget that moment. It's just inimitable quality of Jimmy, his random BRBs. But he's back in. He's dialed in. He's locked in. He's adding his 5th stockade. Let's go, boys and girls. We need to see more from the Gymster because Lyrilisks are out. You definitely want some sort of healing, the Shaman, to help mitigate the bounce damage. We got more Mavericks. We got more Clerics as well coming out. I like the idea. I like the look. Feels like with the Zeths on the front line, there's actually not so many Vorvs here with this army either. It's something that Alexhandr is going to need to pick and choose how he decides to take the angle. Let's find out what he can make happen here, because I feel like the Cyprian count is a little bit too high for that. Let's see. All right, Harakan's in a good spot initially. One of them locked in the back, not able to actually get past all of the Mavs. And no real focus fire happening over here, but now finally reinforcements can target down those Lyrilisks. The Shaman got nuked, but most of the Harakans end up surviving, so there was really no hope for those pool units to get much done after that. That's an army wipe, but hey, trading army actually does favor the Zerg to some extent. It's just a question of whether or not they've been able to sneak in some Droleths, and to an extent Alexhandr has, but on 32 with 16 mining minerals over here in the main base, could definitely have a little bit more. He does have 4 mining on gas, so at least that is not quite, it's not like maximum efficiency, but it's optimal if you get my drift. It's if you put a 3rd worker down, that's unoptimal for that worker because they give you less gas than the first 2, but that it would still be max efficiency. So a small little subtlety. People only really start putting the 3rd worker on gas when they really need to maximize the gas that they already are getting. Usually it's more efficient to get some more minerals and expand or whatever. Anyway, Alexhandr is going to be adding that Zorkish Shroud to his main base. Over here is kind of a nice spot to occupy as well because it does kind of block a common drop spot. But if it's Cyclops, you have to worry about that. If it's Cyprians, actually, that would block the shot. So scouting bio, I think it makes sense to make the Shroud, and it's okay to make it there as well. Khazitra Cesiant is on the way, which is always a good one to have. Static detection and a very powerful aura that gives you extra attacks for adjacent targets to your primary target. So with all that said, we have a bio stack coming up. We have base number 3 coming up for our Terran player. Typically, Zerg shoots ahead in bases around the time that they take their 3rd, because they usually take their 4th at the same time. That's what I've been noticing in a lot of matchups at the higher level. We'll see if Alexhandr follows that script or if he's able to, because right now, he is ceding a lot of map control. The map is a dark and scary place for him. He doesn't really know what to expect from his future. We do have a stockade lifting over. I'm assuming that's to make a covenant because he's got the Vespine for it. And there it is. So we will be seeing a double down on tier 1 bio with the extra units afforded out of that. That's Eidolon, unlikely to be used. Although I think there's a sleeper role for the Eidolon in TVZ, and that's versus Shroud comps because I feel like they deal really, really nicely with Lakes. And they can gun down Zoryu surprisingly fast as well. However, Savants are a really good addition if your opponent is going to go Ultra Core. You can drain the attack speed of them. At that point, you're going to want to flex into Tetzoricor, which has been adjusted in price recently, but that was after this game was played. So we might see that unit from Alexhandr. And we might not. Let's find out together. Ulgorg almost complete. So Alexhandr clearly wants to go for the Ultra Core. Kind of a timing right here because the first Savant is only now being trained. So indeed, Jimmy planning on the anti-Ultra Core situation. Looks good for him, though. Overall, the map flow, the map position looks good. Now, Alexhandr sends out an exculpatory Zethricore, trying to figure out where this army is and what it's doing. That's pretty good information. He's got a bit of a burrow trap laid for this position, and only a few Shamans here to support. And I don't think they're going to be deploying randomly anytime soon. Now, the problem is he has no advance warning that this Terran bio army is very, very close to him. His vision range is very, very slim. So let's see if this ends up working out for him at all. He's got a bunch of Zoryus over here, a couple of Gorgor coming. When he can strike with the Gorgs, that could crush the army, but this is going to be very tight. And already, some of his Zoryus are unburrowing. Let's see it. The Gorgs just hatched. They're about to be here in about 5 seconds if Alexhandr wrangles the units correctly. He's got Zoryus coming in from the east. He's got the rest of his army kind of getting chewed up over here. Acid Spores reducing a lot of the attack speed and the armor in the middle stack, but look at that. There's just a little bit too much healing there, and well, that might actually be enough to allow Jimmy to bust through. But here's where Eidolons come in handy. Got 4 of them in the production menu there. I think it's actually a really shrewd thing to do here. You really need to get rid of some of these static defense structures, and you don't have the infrastructure for phalanx. So unless you're willing to go ahead and do that, well, apparently Jimmy's willing to just go in and attack. That's a bold move. Let's see if it pays off for him. So far, he has gotten rid of the Gorgs. A couple more are being made, more Lakes as well. Yeah, you got to give these Lakes some space, that's for sure. Some respect. Eidolon's now on the way. He has no active detection for the Lakes. He has to deploy the Shaman within vision range of the Lakes in order to see it. So that does pose a bit of a problem. I think I just saw Azorius die to the Hurakan Flame. That is so epic if that's what happened. Ahmed got a kill on Azorius. Jimmy, you got Idle Masons. Dude, one of those is Jim Rain. No. That really only works for Vultures or Mavericks, but I like the idea that any one of your units could be Jim Raynor. You really, that's your way to make sure you get the most out of your unit. Like, I always got to tell my unit, could be you, Jimmy. Yeah, leapfrogging forward with the Lake is pretty solid moves here. Remember, Alexhandr is down eco by a considerable margin. Still looking a little bit on the dire side for him. Shamans are going to try to sustain themselves long enough for the Eidolons to start picking apart the Lakes. And it does feel like right about now Jimmy needs an Anseal. Look at his money, by the way, 5,000 minerals. 800 Vespine. He could tech up if he wanted to. He's got a couple of Savants deployed as well on that front line. What do we do? Oh, Jimmy, you're making 8 Eidolons per rotation. Yeah, Alexhandr told me after, like he was playing this game, obviously. He sent me the replay and he said, Jimmy's improved so much. And while I don't disagree, having this many minerals is kind of outrageous. Now, Alexhandr keeps trying to push the issue down. He killed the Savants earlier, so the Ultra Core is at large. And this honestly could be a wipe of the initial force. A couple more Savants are here. So there is that at the very least. Jimmy, my man, you have 7,000 minerals. Under normal circumstances, I would say this is a broken replay, but all the larvae are going down when the Vespine is there for Alexhandr. He's got a lot of minerals as well, but that's a little bit more believable. 8,000 and climbing. Jimster, he's finally put down the Atlas. Holy moly. Make some Hurakan or something, dude. Let's see. Transferring Masons everywhere. He knows he can just build a lot of Ministries at the very least, and he's going to go ahead and queue up Savants. No! Well, okay, you can have your whatever you want with the gas. Just make sure you're building units after that. You know what I mean? Ministry. Jimmy's like, I don't think Jimmy, it's been a while since I casted a Jimmy game, right? So I don't know if Jimmy's like got an internal monologue that is at all influenced from watching the older casts that I did. By the way, 3rd and 4th base is being taken at the same time. Now, this is like 5 minutes later than you would normally see it, but the principle stands. Alexhandr finally broke out of the containment. He's going to double expand and try to get back his eco. Yeah. If you ever see your resources hovering like above 1,000, you got to just imagine I'm in your ear going, spend your money, spend your money. You hit him up saying, make unit, win game. You can't make unit if you can't win game if you don't make unit, and you can't make unit if you don't spend money. Spend money, win game. Simple 3-step process. Hurakans are starting to be massed up, clerics as well. We got a bit of a sideline over here with a not at all a large army from Alexhandr. Very, very minuscule compared to the resources Jimmy has. Not necessarily the army he has, but the resources for sure. So this base just got set up, and all the Masons are immediately going to be expunged. However, Jimmy does have like I said, a very sizable army. And I do feel like this is going to be a pretty tough one. 20 Eidolons to get through. He doesn't even lift the Ministry. Why would he want to? That's just an excuse to spend 400 of his minerals. Oh, Jimmy. Oh, Jimster. Don't lift this one either. Aw, he is. And away it goes. Ultra Core eating a corpse. At least he's scouting the army with his Masons. Is he scared of it? Like, Jimmy, your army beats this. Just right click. Yeah. Oh. No, that was it, I guess. So, Alexhandr is in a bit of a pickle. Atlas is complete. Are we going to see any tier 2? Yeah, captaincies just get started up now. Oh, here we go. Alexhandr going to give it a go. I don't think this is going to work out at all, man. What a ridiculous amount of money invested. And also, what a ridiculous amount of money not invested. You know what I'm saying? Arakkans are going to be able to stay alive long enough to... Oh my... He's actually clearing Lakes with Eidolons. That's how rich this man is. He's like, hey, my unit that dies when you sneeze at it, here, I'm going to just go ahead and stand on top of your crowd control. Just got to reveal them real quick. My unit that needs to be away from enemies to be cloaked is going to be used to decloak your unit. That's so wild. Now, we do have some gas caps coming out for the Gymster, adding a starport as well. Nothing is in his main base, by the way. So, you know, I'm yelling about the money. Nevlim's yelling about the placement of structures. We're all yelling together at Jimmy. Isn't that wonderful? What a way to unite the people of Cosmonarchy. So what's Alexhandr done at this time, by the way? No Zozark Gorge, no Hydroth Den of any kind, no Tier 2. It's all that he's been able to do to set up these extra bases, harvest Vespene from them. No ridge caps, I'm noticing, from that third base, or indeed from the natural. Got one in the main, though, so he knows that they exist. 9 o'clock being taken as base number 4, since 5 and 6 got destroyed without any actuation. Now, it's funny, he has a completed ministry, so he's going to go ahead and land that at Inner 12, and here we go. Guildhall and Tinkerer's Tower. He wants everything. What's the starport for? All right. Alexhandr has a bit more of a formidable army this time around, actuating that money from his next round of bases. It still is going to take some effort to engage with this. Let's find out if he can do it, because the Gorgakors can actually deal with a number of those Eidolons. But it doesn't look like they're going to have free reign over it for much longer. The Savants are rending all of their attack speed moot. And look at that. You got plenty of Zorius here on the front. But the Lakers didn't burrow for a large portion of that. They cleaved through the northern half of the army. But Jimmy's been cycling backwards a little bit here and there. The Zerg will still be able to break through. We've got tier 2 units that can be made. But Jimmy, you're not actually spending your money, Jimmy. You got to have those Olympians come out soon, Jimmy. Oh, no. Most of his captaincies aren't even making anything. He needs to spend that money. He's just queuing up 5 Savants on each stockade, even though there's multiple buildings still. There is a Gorgon on the way. He needs detection really badly. Down goes the Guildhall. That's going to cancel out his Autocrats and his Olympians in the future. Is he actually going to lose? Alexhandr has more units coming. Dude, I thought this game was over like 5 minutes ago for Gymster. Alexhandr, you dirty MFer. You said Jimmy improved a lot, and then posted a replay where he didn't spend 10,000 minerals. I'm only slightly exaggerating, but it's also kind of a bet that by the end of the game it'll be at 10,000 minerals. Oh, down goes the Gorgon. His sole showing of tier 2 is that the captaincy is here. He did land the Atlas at least. Now, he might actually not get the 10k minerals. He's spending his money too much now. Wow. And now the Hydroth Den and the Zozark Gorge come out. Even though Alexhandr could go tier 2 here. He doesn't need it. He's a few moments away from winning at this point. If all of the tier 2 infrastructure had been saved, I would give an outside chance that, like, he can get, like, a Reclaimer force, and maybe Alexhandr doesn't know how to fight against that. The Zozark Gorge points to him knowing how to fight against that, but still. I was thinking about something there. He's only got 2 Savants, and even though they're max speed there, you can still just walk in and kill them. Especially with the Zorius passive active. Now down they go. Lake is not even needing to burrow right in this moment. We got more reinforcements coming in, pouring in from that third base, pouring in across the map. It's Zeps, it's Zorius, it's a beautiful sight. And it's a whole huge pile of gore in the natural at Jimmy's base. Hey, their minerals are going to eclipse each other, and the Vespene already has in favor of Alexhandr. Good grief. Up the ramp we go. It's a desperate defense. He's still got nothing out of that captaincy. He only now just realized he can use it. He's going to land and try to build an add-on somewhere. Well, his natural's gone. All of his masons died. Dead on the floor. Guildhall on the way. It's not going to be anything. We can't make anything out of that right now, buddy. You don't even have the infrastructure for it. Spend down all of his gas, trying to get as many savants as he can. But we see the writing on the wall now. Alexhandr has actually beaten the Gymster. GG has to be called. I really can't believe Jimmy lost this game. I really can't believe it. How? Crash bang wallop. That is a game. That is a cast that you just watched of Cosmonarchy. All right. Might need to have Alexhandr make sure that the replay doesn't include 10,000 floated minerals next time, but that's okay. It's okay. It was. I told you guys that was a synced replay. There's nothing bugged about it. All right. We'll be back tomorrow for more Cosmonarchy, so I hope to see you then. GG.